Hi, welcome back. And today we're going to have a conversation about the Greek verb. Chapter 1. Now, in Chapter 1, we are introduced to the verb luo. That means I loose, I untie, I destroy, or I free. This is a very regular verb that is used in so many grammars. Lou, this little person here, is going to help us with the grammatical forms. Now, remember the presentation on parsing Greek verbs. And there we have verb. There we have tense, and you'll see her tears, which are uptight. Then we have a voice, which means how the subject of the verb is related to the verb, and we have the active voice, the middle voice, and the passive voice. Remember that voice means how the subject of a verb is related to the verb. And then we have verb wearing a muumuu dress. That reminds us of the word mood. She's in a happy mood. And then she's holding a purse there that is full of numbers, and that helps us with person and number. So tense, voice, mood, person, and number. Now, in terms of tense, it means two things: the time of action and the type of action. In terms of time, when the action of a verb takes place, present, past, or future. And here we have a little memory device that you'll also see in your grammar. We have a clock that reminds us of time. This clock is tense, and we see next to it a typewriter. So tense equal time and type of action. Now, in terms of type of action, we can have continuous action that occurs over a period of time, or we can have momentary action that occurs at a fixed point in time. Like John baptized Jesus, that refers to an event, point action. And then we'll see down there we have the perfect tense. We have point action, which then has bearing upon the present. It has extended results. For example, the verb, it is written. It means that it was written at a point in the past, but the results of that reach up to and include the present. Now, with the present tense, present, active, indicative, the verb is present and it's also continuous action. Now, this can refer to momentary or simple or progressive, like I run or I am running. The first is the simple and the second is progressive. Now, the voice is active. I am running. An indicative mood means that the statement is a statement of fact. That is the indicative. And we're going to be dealing with the indicative from chapter 1 all the way through chapter 10. Now, Greek is an inflected language. That means that there are changes that occur to a verb. And this is certainly a great deal different from English. Now, what we have is our standard verb lu. Right there. That is the stem of the word. Now, in the vocabulary, you learned it with the omega ending. That means I loose. The omega is the first person singular ending. And then we'll see here on the screen, there are 6 different endings that are attached to the stem lu. So let's pronounce these together. Luo, lues, lue. Luamen, lueta, luusi, or luusin. Let's say it one more time. Luo, lues, lue. Luamen, lueta, luusi. Now, notice in the third person plural, we have a nu that's in parentheses because sometimes that ending will have the nu attached to it. Now, let me just draw attention to the fact that in English we do the same thing. We say a horse or an elephant. A horse, an elephant. Now, why do we add the letter N to A? We don't say a elephant. We say an elephant. Well, the N sound is put in there so we can pronounce things quickly. An elephant, instead of stopping and starting. So Greek does the same thing. When the next word begins with a vowel, then you'll see the nu there. So it doesn't mean anything different. It's the same ending. It just depends on the next word. So let's pronounce these one more time. Luo, lues, lue. Luamen, lueta, luusi, or luusin. Now, we have a memory aid to help us here. One little picture here is going to link the tense and endings, and we can learn about a dozen things here through the picture. Take a look at Lou. Here's our little person, Lou. In his right arm, he is holding a present for present tense. With his left arm, right here, he is actively loosing an indicator. Now take note of the pipe wrench that he has there. He's loosing the indicator. Now the indicator here is a substitute word for indicator. Now notice on the top of the indicator there's a gauge. And what does the gauge do? It gives you a readout of the facts. So present, active, indicative of the verb luo. And the indicator helps us with the gauge to see a statement of fact. Now notice here, flowing out of the indicator is an oasis. And look to the right here. We have an omelet right here that is oozing out of the pan. Now the word oasis is close to the endings for the singular. O-ace-a. O-ace-a, oasis. And the omelet that is oozing out of the pan reminds us of these endings. Amen, eta, usi. So one picture holds about 12 things together. Let's walk through it one more time. Here we have Lou, who is always loosing things, or he's being loosed. In this case, he's doing it actively. So he holds a present in his right arm. With his left arm, he is actively loosing the indicator, and then we have the gauge that tells us this is a statement of fact. And then coming out of the indicator is an oasis with an omelet that is oozing out of the pan. So let's just go back to our endings here. Let's say them one more time. Luo, lues, lue, luamen, lueta, luusi, or luusin. And here's our picture. Now, let's do a little bit of practice here. What I'm going to ask you to do in just a few seconds is to fill these out. Now, when we are working with verbs, what we want to do is to be able to isolate the stem from the ending. So our stem is from akuo, but the stem is aku. And then we have the eta ending. That's a second person plural. So look at the parsing that is given to you on the screen. We put in P for present tense. The voice is active. The mood is indicative, so we put the I in there. This is the second person plural, and the vocabulary form is akuo. The stem is aku. And what's the translation? You here. And the you there is plural. In the South, you'd say, perhaps, y'all. So I'm going to hit my pause button, would ask that you do the same, and then we'll come back and compare notes. All right, now that you've had a chance to do your own work, let's work through these together. Baptidze. Here's the stem, baptids. The A is the third person singular ending. So present active indicative third singular. From baptizo, he, she, it baptizes. Bales. Bal is the stem. Ace is the ending. Present active indicative, second person singular. From balo, you throw. Didaskusi. Didask is our stem. The usi is the ending. Present active indicative, third plural. They teach. Anoigamen, present active indicative, first person plural. Again, anoig is our stem. The translation, we open. And therapuo, this is just the vocabulary form. Present active indicative, first person singular. I heal. All right, let's do a little bit more. I'm going to hit my pause button and would ask that you do the same. Well, how did you do? All right, graphe, present active indicative, third person singular. From grapho, he, she, or it writes. Hamartanata, present active indicative, second person plural. From hamartano, you sin. Pempes, from pempo, present active indicative, second person singular, you send. And finally, legusi, present active indicative, third person plural. From lego, they say or they speak. Now, just by way of final reminder, when you are working with the verbs, it's always important to note the root of the verb. For legusi, the root is leg. So thanks, and have a wonderful adventure with the assignment.